So data modeling is a common skill that filters out data engineers in the data modeling interview. That shows up in pretty much every single data engineering interview that you'll be in. And in my last video, I talked a lot about how to model dimensions and whether they're time sensitive or not. And so today we're going to be talking about facts and what a fact is and like how do you model it. So a fact in this case is usually described as like an event, like maybe you clicked a button, you logged into a website, you liked this TikTok. Like each one of those is like an event that happened, right? And that's something that is like kind of set in stone, right? It's events. There's not such a thing as like a slowly changing fact. It's like just either it happened or it didn't happen. So that's a big thing about fact tables, right? So another big thing about fact tables is that you don't want to bring in unnecessary dimensions, right? So for example, in a fact table, you don't want to have like all of the data about the user as well as the fact, right? Like the who, right, of the fact should just be an ID that references that user or an ID that references whatever thing it needs to have to build the context of like the who, right? And then you have other pieces of it, right? The what should definitely be in the fact table. Like I clicked this button, I liked this post, I whatever, right? There's like the action, the what is in the table, in the columns, maybe like an event type column or something like that, right? And then you have the when, and that's also very common in the fact tables. You have a timestamp field of like event timestamp. This action happened at this moment in time. It's another very common thing, right? So you have who, what, where, when. So where is also going to be one that's an interesting one, right? So with where, it's like, okay, some of those contexts are probably small enough that they should just be a column, but they might be big enough where it's like, oh, this is like an event that happened on this listing, right? So it's going to be like the where there is actually like an Airbnb listing or like a location or a device or something like that. And then obviously the why is philosophical, right? And that's the one that you actually answer with SQL after you model the other questions that you can ask of fact data. And then once you have all that modeled, you can then join in those other dimension tables to bring in whatever other dimensions you need so that you can count things like by country or by region or by gender or whatever other dimension you want to bring in and then count the events that are happening, right? So fact tables really like to be counted, right? Extreme counting is a very common thing. I remember at Facebook when I worked there, they said move fast and count things. And we were just glorified counters, essentially, right? And this fact data is a very important piece of analytics. Definitely look it up. Follow me for more.